All right, so I'm back. I took a little break, not intentionally so. I did some traveling and unfortunately that got into the way of making videos. But today I wanted to talk about basically implementing AI and workflows into your business. Now it's a big buzzword right now, and so that's the reason I wanted to make a video on this topic. And I think that there's a lot of things that I've found out through my own use of AI that could save people time and help them set up things to save themselves time in their business. Because if you are not separating yourself from your business, if you are working in your business, then you are failing. But if you're working on your business, then you're succeeding because you're taking actionable steps that make your business successful, whether it be cold outreach or fulfillment, whatever it is, and turning it into automated processes that do that for you so that it happens without you. And in this day and age, the number of headcount at businesses will continue to shrink, and it's because you can slowly over time replace certain mediocre tasks, really low skill tasks and work with AI automation. And I know that's I don't know, a lot of people have a doom and gloom view of that, but I think it's just the way things are. And if you look back to the Industrial Revolution, like it was at some point made a capital offense to break machines because so many people would go into the textile buildings and would be angry and try to break the machines because they were losing their jobs to the textiles. But we obviously look back at that progress now and we're like, we wouldn't want to pay $50 for every shirt that we wear. You know what I'm saying? It's progression and evolution and technical innovation are always going to happen. It's always been happening at an exponential rate ever since the internet happened. It's just the rate of progress and the rate of output and production just completely tend to shoot up. And with AI and then with eventually AGI, real world intelligence, things are going to get crazy. But models are getting smarter every single day. Code is available to almost every human being on the planet. There's so many things that you can do today that you would have never imagined yourself being able to do if you just leveraged AI properly, and that's what this video is about. So if you don't know me and you don't have any of my background, I basically was trying to go all in on my own advertising agency about a year and a half ago, and I did that for about 6 or 7 months, and I was all in, for lack of a better term, balls to the wall, huge ad spend, just trying to build systems, tracking massive ad spends through YouTube campaigns and generating VSL funnels and booking calls and sales processes and all that stuff. And then I even got into the part where I was doing fulfillment and things like that. I've talked about that in some of my previous videos. But what I was really good at during that period of time, although I was in the wrong market and hitting the wrong target, I was really good at building systems that helped fulfill on that promise whenever I was going to have a client that signed. And so I never really got to use these because I didn't have the right outreach approach and I didn't have the right volume and wrong target market. There's a myriad of things that were wrong with just that first part, the marketing side, the new business side. But in the fulfillment side, I got really good at making the systems make the lifting of several clients super easy. So to give you some understanding of what I mean by that is, like, whenever a new show would come on, or whenever a new client would come on, I could send them an onboarding form. And through that onboarding form, you obviously capture a lot of information. Now, that's just one example of a system that you can put in place that can reduce the number of back and forth communications between your client. It'll make you seem more professional, and it gets you all the information up front and once. You index all of that. That's a very simple, small system that can save you a ton of time, right? Because if you build out that form once, and maybe you build out several versions of it over time, you get version 2, version 3, where you start to understand more information you need, maybe you don't need this piece of information, all that stuff, then you start to standardize the way you get information in. And once you do that, then you can start to build other systems off of that. I think one of the biggest benefits of systems that most people underappreciate is that it allows you to standardize and then delegate. Now, when you hear delegate, you mostly think of like new labor, like having new people come on and performing the task. But with the way things are going with AI agents and all of that, it is becoming more and more realistic that you can replace that task with an AI agent if you have a tight SOP or understanding of what the task is and how to perform it. And so for that reason, when you start to implement systems into your business, you're going to get that standardization that will allow you to then delegate to either a person or an AI to continue to build off that task. Like from then, when I do the onboarding form and stuff like that, like there were so many things that I did get down to, like updating copy on a website and things like that. But let's say there's a bit of user error in your form, right? Let's say whenever you send the form and you're asking for a bio of that person, the bio, maybe there's a spelling error or whatever it is, right? And if I were to just directly port whatever they imported as the bio into the website, then that would have that spelling error on the website. Instead, what if I passed that form submission part, that one part that says their bio, through an AI, ChatGPT or whatever, that would then check spelling and grammar and then publish it on the website. And that way I'm constantly making sure, because like previously I'd have to go back to the website and literally sift through the page to find where there are spelling errors. Now there's other ways of going about that. You could print the page and give it to ChatGPT and ask it to identify problem spots. And that's just another example of how you can use AI to save you some time. But there are so many things and so many processes where AI can come in now to really do the heavy lifting and make it super easy for you to scale. And which means that the perception of value has shifted a lot. So like prior, you'd think setting up a website took a lot of time. Setting up advanced conversion tracking takes a lot of time. Building out really complex and effective marketing campaigns takes a lot of time. And that is true. The first time you do all of those things, it takes a ton of time, right? But if you do those and you add a 20% margin of increased amount of time spent on them, so let's say like where it would take you an hour, now it's taking you, I don't know, maybe not 20%, but like an hour and a half now, whatever it is, to sit there and build it in a way that can be repeatable, at least then, after that, you don't have to do it again. And that's what I think people should be really focused on, is building systems that basically take you out of the business. And so then you are building the business. You're working on building it, not working in it. And I take that approach into everything. I'm a huge systems guy. And so like when it comes to outreach, right? Again, I've talked about this with the sales roller coaster and all that stuff, where basically you do a bunch of prospecting, you do a bunch of cold DM, cold email, whatever it is. All of a sudden some leads start coming in, you start getting busy with fulfillment, whatever it is, and then you don't have time to do the outreach anymore, and so sales drip, and then it just continues like that, right? If you were to have a system in place that was gonna consistently generate new leads and get you new bookings or whatever, it takes a lot of time to set something up like that, but it allows you to scale, and they're the systems that matter. That's the thing that builds successful businesses. And I think I mentioned this quote before, but I was reading a book called The E-Myth. Its elongated title is The Entrepreneurial Myth. And what it was talking about is that it shared a statistic where most businesses, and we've heard some similar statistic before all around the internet, where it's like most businesses fail within their first 1, 2, 3 years, whatever the exact statistic is, but we all know that most businesses fail. However, it shared a complementary statistic that said that 80% of chains or franchises succeed in their first or second year. And that really displays why it is so important to focus on systems. And it almost, back to that point with the value proposition change, if you spend enough time refining systems, you can make the appearance of effort so great, but in reality, the implementation or the effort involved in providing that service could be so tiny. And I think a lot of people come at it with this, AI can't do this yet, AI can't do that yet. And a lot of people wait for it to be perfect. And I don't think that's the right way of going about it. I think you should over systematize, and you'll see what you can't do and what you can do, but that will often format or change the way you would deliver the same valuable product. For whatever reason, let's just pick this YouTube channel as an example. If the main critical function is to post videos on YouTube in order to get more impressions, then there are several different ways in which you can get to producing a valuable YouTube video, right? And the way that automation could help you do that will be defined as you try to start working towards that outcome. And it's a sort of a stoic Marcus Aurelius quote, the obstacle is the way, Ryan Holiday or whatever. It becomes the way, it literally becomes the way. The more obstacles you run into, the easier it is to define the path that it takes to deliver on the thing that you're trying to achieve. And I know that's out there, but in reality, it's just, if you see a problem where like AI may be able to solve it, I would send it to AI and I'd be like, hey, could you do this? What could we do this? What set of tools could we put together for this? Oh, this tool doesn't talk to that tool. It's not super easy. It's not integrated like Zapier. Okay, is there an API? Could we use an API? And then it's like, yeah, but you'd have to code. And it's like, could you code for me? Yeah, it can code for me. So it's like, all these problems will help define the path that it takes to deliver on that same valuable thing you promised, and doing it in a way that is incredibly scalable and incredibly valuable. And I think those people that find that are unlocking not some sort of arbitrage where it's, I'll tell you that I'm gonna do this and you're gonna have the perception that it takes me 100 hours to do it, and so for that reason I get paid 100 hours. It's not that. What you're getting paid for is the value in finding a way to do that at scale for hundreds or thousands of people. And so you are unlocking a level of production that would be previously unobtainable without thousands of people involved, just by finding that efficiency gain. And it's like a time savings, whatever it is, but it's an incredibly valuable offer, and that's why you're gonna get compensated for it. But you have to work very hard. Systems are not easy, and they often break, and there's so many edge cases. Like, people are messy, people are stupid, and so for that reason, like, it is very hard to get a system to be rigid when you have to rely on a human being. But if you can get it out of the equation, then you're able to build, again, repeatable systems that can provide massive amounts of value. And like, this YouTube channel is always an example of that. I'm sitting here and I've actually kind of procrastinated over the last 2 weeks. I haven't made a video, but in those last 2 weeks, I've worked on some things to turn this podcast into to turn this YouTube video into a podcast. And so if there is people who prefer podcast audio experiences, maybe whether they're on a run or whatever, this YouTube channel could be available in that format. And it's another point of impressions that I can gain. And it's another post I can post about on LinkedIn or Twitter, right? So the idea is that there is a content waterfall that comes from this stuff right here, this long form content. And when I get done with the video, it's as simple as uploading the video to YouTube. After that, shorts get generated. I go and I review them, and then I publish them, or I schedule them. And then on the other side, I upload an audio and transcript file, and it automatically makes a podcast, creates a description, title, tags, all that stuff, and post it, as well as post an announcement onto my LinkedIn pages. So then it'll go into Twitter, and I already have a bot that's tweeting on my behalf, right? So there's a lot of crazy things that you can do to build your presence on the internet and do it in a way that actually sounds good, provides value, right? Everything I put into these videos, I think, is genuine advice that I would give to a friend, right? That is trying to be successful. And it's stuff that I've had to fail through to figure out. And so in that reason, I think it's worth sharing because it can save you that time. And then if I'm doing that in these videos and then I can disseminate it to get more impressions, then I'm just increasing the chance that I'm going to have a positive impact on somebody out there. I don't know. That's my whole spiel on systems and automations. I know it's a little all over the place, but it's hard to define. Systems have to be incredibly detailed and specific to their use case. The broader they are, the less effective they are to an extent. And so for that reason, I can't really tell you like, go put this in place today. It's just, I need you to start thinking this way because this is how success is driven these days. And if you are not thinking that way, there was another kid who is 5 years younger than you who is doing all of this already. And the internet can really expand your horizons for what you think is possible with AI. But yeah, I recommend checking out AI. If you have a question about whether or not AI can help you do this thing, ask AI. That's exactly how I started with AI, and it's taken me through an insane, discovery path of just all kinds of new tools and technology, and I have unlocked an infinite capability of building any sort of system that I want to build, and that's a really good feeling. I'm at the developer level in terms of the tools that we have and the code and ChatGPT or Grok or whatever. You really can build anything you can imagine. And so at that point, it's okay, what is the value? What do we need to get to people? And then how can we systematize it? And then how do we market it? And then after that, you scale. And just as a little life update, I'm getting back into working on the app. I want to have that done by September or October. I have a bit of a longer time horizon on that because it is coding and it is all coding and it is mostly vibe coded, and that can be messy and you'd have to restart several times. Getting the architecture right is difficult. And I think I'm going to have to really learn some coding to get that fully done. But we're talking about a full-fledged dashboard engaged app that integrates with a CRM. So that's a complicated app. But for most other things, there are so many ways to make simple scripts. Like the other day, we were doing some data management in a Google Sheet, and I was able to write a script using Grok 4 to manage some of the data and match it so that we can align some payment data. That's huge. That's crazy. And it saved us all the manual labor of having to go through all those things, but it also is a repeatable process. Like I can upload one sheet here, one sheet there, click the button, and boom, it's already printed out and checked again. And it can reduce error, increase efficiency. There's so many different benefits that can come from it. But anyway, I know this is a bit of a rant, and I'm sorry for that, but I wanted to share those things. It's what I'm passionate about is building systems and things like that. In the marketing realm, in the business realm, or whatever, just look at what you could possibly do with AI and have it help you. Even if you're working in a Google Sheet and you just think, oh man, I really wish this would be different in my Google Sheet, ask AI how to do it. That's how I got into coding with AI, is I was like, hey, can you write a formula for my Google Sheet so that I can manage this data? And then it was like, oh, we could just do this in code. And I was like, what? And I was like, how do I do that? And so it led me down that path. Anyway, I digress. I just wanted to share some of those things. I think it's really important, and I hope that you guys find some success in building systems. If you have any questions about building systems, please drop them below. I'd be happy to point you in the right direction, get you some tools, tell you what to prompt, like all kinds of things. I will help anyone in the comments who wants to build a system. It's easy for me to lay them out. I just can't find it's hard for me to give them all to you because there's little details about every single little one that vary. And so for that reason, I can give you the architecture and then you can go out and build it. And I would do that for free down in the comments. I respond to every single comment on this channel because the views are so few. It's an opportunity to provide an extra bit of value to you guys. And yeah, I just hope to see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching this far through. If you did like it, if you found any value in it, obviously give it up, but also please subscribe. It does help the channel a ton. And I will see you in the next one. Thanks. All right, bye.